What's going on, everyone? So, Austin Reaves has been much better the last 10 games or so for the Los Angeles Lakers. I know many people look at that San Antonio game. He didn't have the best game in San Antonio, but for the most part, the last 10 games or so, he has been much better, much consistent, or more consistent, and he's been shooting the ball much better. Even in the San Antonio game, overall, he shot 4 or 12 from the field, which isn't great, but he did shoot 2 of 5 from 3, which is 40%. If he can shoot around 40%, that would be fantastic. If you look at just on the surface, right, and you haven't actually watched him play much this year, you might think oh, he's having a great year, right? He's averaging almost 16 points, 15.8 points, 5.4 assists, a steal, will be nice and rounded up to half a block. He's shooting 86.3% from the foul line. He has a 57% EFG. From 2-point range, he's shooting 58.6% on 6.4 attempts, which is fantastic. 3-point range, 36.5% on 4.8 attempts. It's basically 5 attempts. So basically, he's doing what he did against Spurs, making 2 out of 5 a game, which is nice. You'll take that. He was shooting 29% from 3 a month ago. So you can see how much he's improved to climb back up to almost 37%. And then he has a field goal percentage of 49.2% on 11 attempts per game. Sounds great. Sounds good, right? He's played 57 games for the Lakers. You need him. And the Lakers are better when Austin Reaves is on and Austin Reaves is doing Austin Reaves things. And we know what he's capable of. But there's a lot of just issues that are apparent that still haven't changed that I've been kind of trying to highlight all season. And look, I like Austin Reaves a lot, but I don't believe he's the guy that people necessarily believe or want him to be. And we have a large enough sample size now to see it. And the things just aren't changing outside of again, he's improved his 3-point shooting, he's improved his shooting, but primarily the playmaking, right? We'll get into the defense and stuff like that here in a moment because that's a big thing. But the playmaking, he is a guy that can make plays, but he's not a playmaker. Again, there's a big difference between a guy that can make plays and a playmaker. Take somebody like a D'Angelo Russell. Even Spencer Dinwiddie, we've seen his ability to be a playmaker. LeBron James, those guys are playmakers. So what I mean by that, for those that don't know the difference, is a guy that can make plays, he can find the occasional cutter. He can find the open man. He can keep the ball swinging, the ball moving. And, if something obvious opens up, boom, it's right there. He can run the simple actions, right? Pick and rolls, things like that. But to actually see the entire court, actually be able to make things and create things and have things develop strictly on his actions and the way that he approaches the defense. Basically taking what the defense gives him. You see that a lot with a D'Angelo Russell, right? D'Lo will be aggressive in attack mode, but then he'll see the cutter coming across, and all of a sudden he's just making a pass, and you're like, where is he throwing to? And then boom, the guy's right there, and he's finishing at the rim. Or Anthony Davis will roll towards the basket, and he's about to elevate for a shot, and it's oh no, let me dump it down to him. Or he's manipulating the defense in order to collapse or to kind of draw attention in order to find that open man. He is creating things. He is making plays based on what the situation is at hand, and he's constantly has his head on a swivel and allowing things to develop naturally and then finding those actions. He's reacting to the actions, right? And that is very valuable. It's why you see D'Lo at times would just be putting on clinics, and you're like, man, this guy is incredible, right? Spencer Dinwiddie, you've seen his ability to kind of do the same thing, right? Primarily with Anthony Davis, I think a lot of that is just he doesn't really have a true role yet. He's trying to figure things out. Doesn't really seem like he knows where he is at time or where he's supposed to be at times. Most of the time, he's just kind of standing around, and it's incredibly frustrating to me. But this video is about Austin Reaves, right? And so a great example is Austin Reaves, like let's take the Warriors game, right? Austin Reaves gets tunnel vision a lot and kind of just gets locked in into one or the other, right? He hasn't developed the ability to go from attack mode to immediately switching into playmaking mode, right? It's either I'm going to go and set somebody up and I'm going to run this pick and roll action, or I'm going to, kick it out to somebody, or I'm going to be aggressive and just score the basketball. And you see example like Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis establishes post position on pod and is clearly having a mismatch advantage that in a game in which Anthony Davis had been dominating. And what does Austin Reaves do? Instead of recognizing that mismatch, making the proper play, and delivering the ball to AD, he takes an ill-advised three and he misses, and Golden State's headed to the other direction. Okay, it's frustrating, but it's only one time, right? Well, a couple plays later, guess what happens again? This time, Anthony Davis once again has clear established position, literally right in front of Austin Reaves, but Austin Reaves has his mind made that he's going to take the shot, and instead of recognizing, Anthony Davis has a post position on the mismatch of Moses Moody, I'm just going to take another ill-advised three. Those type of things are incredibly frustrating. And it doesn't mean Austin Reaves can't improve, doesn't mean he can't get better, doesn't mean that he can't develop that over time. Austin Reaves wants to be a playmaker. Austin Reaves wants more on-ball duties, and the Lakers have obliged him. But my thing is, now you have a Spencer Dinwiddie, somebody you didn't have all season. You have D'Angelo Russell, Spencer Dinwiddie, and LeBron James. In my opinion, there is zero reason Austin Reaves should be the playmaker for any significant stretch. Now, obviously, if he's just out and going or initiating the offense, or, there's moments where he's on ball, like there's times where it's like, okay, that's fine. But to be running your own units and all this stuff, for him being the primary ball handler and Spencer Dinwiddie's just kind of standing around, it just doesn't make any sense to me. None. When you have a guy in Spencer Dinwiddie who is a better playmaker, it should always be D'Lo and Reaves, or Spencer and Reaves, right? Or LeBron and Reaves. If you want Reaves to be the initiator, then have the ball, he initiates, and then LeBron is on ball. We shouldn't be having Austin Reaves playing heavily as the playmaker when you have two guys now, one off the bench and one starting, that are just far better at that. Better with the ball pressure, all of those things. Austin Reaves, again, he when he's on, he can score. We know that. He's a guy that can go drop 20 to 30. And we need that from him. But not when we need him to play make. And so my thing is, like, you have a guy in Spencer Dinwiddie. Austin Reaves likes to score the basketball, right? He likes to be aggressive on ball. He can still find the open man. He can still make plays when he has the ball in his hand. But him running the offense, it just doesn't cut it. He doesn't do well with ball pressure. Teams are targeting him when he has the ball and he's on ball. And you're seeing it translate to games like San Antonio, where he has, in that game, 5 turnovers. He leads the team in turnovers because he's not great he hasn't developed those comfortable skills yet and the ability to take care of the basketball. Like I said, he's averaging 5.4 assists, but he's averaging 2.1 turnovers per game, right? So that's like 1.5 to 1. That's not great, right? That's not a real playmaker. You look at guys like a D'Lo, or you look at maybe Chris Paul is a guy that came to my mind, but Chris Paul is one of the greatest ever. But even Spencer Dinwiddie has like a 4-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, right? He's out there taking care of the basketball and making sure he doesn't turn the ball over heavily and racks up the assist total, right? You look at a guy like a D'Angelo Russell, right? He's averaging this season 6.4 assists, and he only is averaging 2 turnovers. So he's averaging basically a 3-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, right? Like that, it's the difference. And I know you might be looking at it as like, oh, well, D'Lo's only averaging one less, or one extra assist and only one less turnover, or the same level of turnovers. But that's the difference between you winning and losing a game, right? That's the difference between you having a good sequence and you having a bad sequence, right? And so to me, it's like, put Spencer Dinwiddie on ball, let him be your playmaker, right? And then now Austin Reaves, he gets to always be what he really is, which is a 2 guard. He is a shooting guard. He's not a point guard. Can he get there at some point? Sure. But he's not there yet. And you need to allow things to develop naturally rather than forcing things, because we're not in a position to allow things to be forced. And when you have a guy like a Spencer Dinwiddie, who this season with Brooklyn, right, because that's a larger sample size, he was averaging 6 assists and 1.3 turnovers. Even with the Lakers, he's averaging 5 assists with 1.7 turnovers, and that's with a team that he's played 4 games with and has no familiarity, no chemistry, no nothing, and he's just playmaking in spots, and he has a better playmaking assist to turnover ratio than Austin Reaves does. It's just like, again, I like Austin Reaves, but there's the clear holes, there's the clear flaws to his game, and we need to not. We want to, 1, make the playoffs. 2, we want to be in the playoffs. And teams are going to exploit that. And it's bad enough that Austin Reaves he's been very bad defensively, right? He's not been, like last year he was at least serviceable, right? Last year he was holding his own in many ways. This year he's been a legit liability on the defensive side. And the problem is you're already going to have teams targeting him and going after him on the defensive side, or for him being the defender. And then you add in the fact that you're going to now also put him on ball in the postseason to have him making plays and being the playmaker. And it's like, so now teams are going to target that too, because they know, oh, Austin Reaves, if you get enough pressure on him, he's going to turn the ball over, or he's going to make a bad decision because he's looking to make plays rather than being aggressive and getting. Because when he has the ball and he's looking to attack and he's looking to score the basketball, he's not. He's isolating one-on-one, and he's just going rather than trying to initiate some type of action as a playmaker. So he's not going to turn the ball over as frequently because he's not going to be making bad passes or whatever. He's just going to be going and doing his little moves to get into the teeth of the defense, elevate, score the basketball. It's not the same thing as him actually trying to make plays. And so if Austin Reaves is really going to have the level of impact that we need him to have, we need to maximize him as well as everyone else that's involved. And I just think the best way to maximize him is to just always have him as the 2 guard. He's playing alongside D'Lo, he's the 2 guard. Playing alongside Dinwiddie, he's the 2 guard. You have 2 guys that are just better playmakers than Austin Reaves is. And you already have the liability on the defense side. You don't need the liability on the offensive side at times. And I'm not saying that Austin Reaves is this huge liability that's going to cost a bunch of games, but you get into some of these tight matchups and tight windows. It's like, do you really want Austin Reaves trying to be the playmaker over a Dinwiddie or a D'Lo or a LeBron? No. And again, that doesn't mean he can't have the ball in his hands. It doesn't mean he can't go to look to score the basketball. It doesn't mean he can't make a play, but to actually have him orchestrating and running an offense, he's just not there yet. He can do it again in spots. He can do it against a bad team maybe, but once we get to the postseason, it's going to be a problem because it's already been a problem here and there over the course of the season. So anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Again, every time I've mentioned, Reaves not being a playmaker, yeah, I usually get some level of pushback. But you just keep seeing it. You saw it in the Warriors game. You saw it in the Spurs game, right? And it's just, there's no ignoring it. It is what it is. Again, that doesn't mean that Reaves isn't a bad player. It doesn't mean that Reaves, doesn't have a role on this team. He absolutely does. It's just his role is the 2 guard, not the point guard. So have him be the 2 guard. But anyway, again, how you feel, what your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Lets me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Now subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.